The Midnight Dance by CartoonNerd12. Chapter 7. Rainbow paced back and forth outside the castle jousting grounds. She was waiting for Scootaloo to get there before Blueblood made his appearance, which he was taking his sweet time about. No doubt he was afraid of getting his hooves muddy when he walked out, but she didn't care. In fact, she was glad for the extra time, since her personal assistant wasn't here yet. Then she heard the running of footsteps and thought it might have been Scootaloo, but was surprised to see Spike instead of panting.
Spike? What the heck? Where's Scootaloo?
Uh-oh, did you need her today? He cringed in fear.
Yeah, of course I need her today, to help out with getting back at Blueblood for what he did to Rarity.
What? What did he do?
I'll tell you later. Right now I need Scoots. Where is she?
That's the thing. He started sweating.
What?
He quickly said while having his hands shield him from the impact. Applejack gave her the day off.
What? Without asking my permission first? Why would she do that?
He gulped, answering, that is, we were in the kitchen. As he unfolded events from the earlier morning, Rainbow's face softened and she sighed, forgetting foremost that Scootaloo was still a kid and needed her free time. Remembering when she was Scoots' age, she would always need to get out of the castle, and her father was always right there to play with her. She loved how her dad would throw her into the air so she could fly on her own. He was the one who taught her how to fence, joust, and all sorts of things that normally a stallion would be doing. But by being a headstrong girl, she was never into frou-frou stuff like most of her sisters, mainly Rarity and Fluttershy. She missed her father. In fact, King Sombra was the one who introduced her to the Wonderbolts, and she met a younger Saurin at the time.
Saurin,
she thought sadly, remembering their talk a few days ago. But then her face lit up with an idea. She turned back to Spike.
Thanks for telling me this, Spike. And tell AJ that she did me a favour.
He flapped up. What? Spike scratched his head in confusion.
Now you better go before Blueblood gets here.
Okay. He was still confused, but left just as Blueblood made his grand entrance. Blueblood stopped to look at his hoof as if checking if his pedie was still intact.
There had better be a good reason why we're meeting in a dirty arena. Well, I was going to show off my jousting skills to you, but there's been a slight change in plans. Instead, we're going to the Wonderbolts Derby.
Oh, very well, if we must. He lifted his head up high and kept it up. She rolled her eyes and led the way. Saurin! Spitfire called out when she was at a dressing room of the Derby. Move your tail on out there! We have a race to be in.
What's the point? His voice muffled from within. You know I won't be able to win.
Quit with the moping already. Look, I know she was your inspiration to fly at the speed of light, but you did the right thing when you had to move on. She is a princess after all. She was more than that. She was amazing. Inside the room, he was lying on his back on a sofa, head held in his hooves. Fleetfoot walked up to the captain. Still not coming out? Spitfire nodded and pulled down her shades. He's lost the will to fly. Without Princess Rainbow Dash, he doesn't have the motivation to take wing into the sky anymore. Well, this should cheer both of you up. She knocked on the door. Saurin, it's Fleetfoot. I just want to let you know who I was checking out of the bleachers, and guess who I saw in the box? Princess Rainbow Dash! There was a pause, and then the two Wonderbolt mares didn't hear anything. Then, out of nowhere, a blue blur zipped out of the room. The mares went spinning around until they stopped and were dizzy.
Well, that certainly got him back up,
said Spitfire before she passed out. Saurin couldn't believe it. She was here! He flew at a fast pace, then stopped in mid-air to see who she was with. The ever-known and elusive Prince Blueblood. No doubt he was a suitor for the princesses. Dash had told him all about growing up with Blueblood, and that he was unpleasant and annoying. But why would Rainbow be hanging out with him if that was the case? Maybe she had to? But if he was a suitor and Rainbow had no choice... But then a horrible thought occurred to him.
What if she's here with him because she wanted to?
He had to find out for sure as he flew up past the side of the box and hid from view, making a psst sound. Blueblood gestured for Rainbow Dash, saying out of boredom, "The Wonderbolt Derby is hardly what I call a sporting event." "Oh, well, I guess if you don't like it, then I'm sure we can find some other prince to marry who would like to come with me." She knew that would get under Blueblood's coat by leading him to think it would be best way to get married to her. Sure enough, that sparked his interest, and he pointed out, "What I meant to say was that it is not a sporting event, but a way of life." He gave a smug grin, as if congratulating himself for saying the right thing. She could only roll her eyes, thinking, "Sheesh, he's really going all out on this just to get closer to the throne." By then, her ears perked up to hear a psst sound, and turned to see Saurin's head popping up out into the open window. "Just the colt I want to see." She turned back to Blueblood and told him, "I'm going to get us some snacks before the race starts." "Don't bother, I never eat, commoner food." "Well, if you say so." She flew down the stairs while grumbling, "I swear, one more complaint and I won't act so sweet anymore." She found Saurin waiting for her, and they went below the stands. They stood silent for a moment until he rubbed his neck and said, "It's great seeing you again." "Is it? Because, as I recall, that you broke up with me!" She yelled into his face, causing him to wince. Broke up? But we weren't dating." "Yeah, well, we might as well have been. You broke my heart." She turned away from him. "Dash." He reached out his hoof. "Oh, so now it's Dash? Not Princess or Your Highness? Do you want me to?" "No! I'd rather you call me by my name, like you always did." "But then why?" "Because the last time we were talking, you said we wouldn't be able to see each other again." "Well, I proved you wrong, didn't I?" "Not really." He finally had the chance to yell back, "You came here with another guy! How was that, seeing each other?" "Blueblood was an excuse for me to get out of the palace while I was—" She made air quotes with her hooves, "hanging out with him. My original plan was for me and Scootaloo to show off our jousting skills to him, and then try to convince him to joust with us and see if he's made of hard stuff." "I don't think he is, so why?" "For 2 reasons. One is to get him to come out of the castle so none of us becomes his bride, and 2, he hurt Rarity by being a... Gah, he's got me so mad I can't even say it." "So this is payback? Whoa, sure I'm glad I'm still on your good side." I am still on your good side, after what happened?" "I've gotten over it, but I'm still pretty ticked that you would leave me like that. I suppose you've been flying hard to keep your mind off that day?" "Actually, I haven't been flying. Not since I told you we couldn't see each other again. I couldn't fly until Fleetfoot told me she saw you out here, and I lifted myself off the ground and just to see you." He did a bashful blush and turned away so she wouldn't see his cheeks. Her mouth was wide open from bafflement until she scowled and scolded him. "Let me get this straight. You can't fly because of me? Of all the... Saurin, I refuse to be held responsible for a Wonderbolt not being able to do their job of being the greatest flyers in Equestria. If you cared that much about me, then you should have said so. Or better yet, to never say those words to me about us never seeing each other again." Her face softened. "No. You tell me that you care, and I will say the same thing." He lifted his head in surprise. His eyes filled with hope. You do?" "Nuh-uh. You won't get anything out of me until you say what you have to say." "Alright, since you really want to know." He smiled. "You're awesome. You're this amazing flyer that I don't think I could ever keep up to. You may be a princess, but you sure don't act like it. And I don't have a problem with that. And I'm afraid to tell you this, for fear you might give me a black eye. But here goes. You're the most beautiful mare I've ever laid eyes on. I know that's cheesy, but that's the way I see you." He lowered his head to avoid her gaze of how she'll react. Suddenly, he felt his head being quickly lifted and could see her lips touching with hers. He slowly closed his eyes to the bliss. After what seemed like a while, they finally broke away and gave each other loving glances.
Now it's my turn, she told him while smiling. Saurin, you're the first cult friend I ever made. I never liked any boys until I met you. You may think you can't keep up with me, but you're wrong. You're the only guy who can keep up with me, and that's what I like about you. By the way, as cheesy as that was about me being beautiful, you're not so bad yourself.
She swished her tail on his face. He started grinning like an idiot until he remembered why he had to let her go in the first place.
But, Dash, I can't give you what a prince can. Isn't that why your mother threw away on any princes? My sisters and I have a plan to get rid of any suitors that come to us. And who says you can't give me what a prince can? You'll be giving me something better than any prince could ever hope to have. You think so? Of course you would. Listen, I need your help to finally give Blue Blood the hoof.
Name it. She whispered her plan in his ear.